unfortunate,
rejected,
drugs, dirty, kind of filthy.
I look away and feel sorry for them. Usually I probably just try to look away, but sometimes I might give them something like money or food.
And I try not to make eye contact.
For what reason? Why do you avoid eye contact?
So they won't like stare at me and then come up to my car.
Well, I ignore them.
What is
Walk past them.
Daniel Sleppy, an author who focuses on how invisible the life of a homeless person is, asked a homeless person what the worst part of being homeless was. The man answered, "No one sees me."
My sister and her family have lived in New York for like 8 years now.
Every Sunday I cook, and so my uncle calls me and he'll be like, "Hey, what you making?"
Nobody meets in bars anymore, but I met my wife in a bar, and 34 years later, still working. My grandma had a lot of costumes from the theater that she started. When we were kids, we'd dress up in those costumes and we'd put on little sketches.
My whole life, I've always felt like we were like a team, my brother and I.
That's my cousin.
That's really weird.
She ain't even look.
I know she's not homeless because I just hung out with her a couple weeks ago, but I mean, I did not know that that person when I was walking by, it was her.
It's, and things are a lot more real than you expect, so.
We went to Front Steps, a homeless shelter in Austin, Texas that houses over 400 men and women per night. They supply a meal for many people along with showers and beds for those who win the lottery. The lottery is drawn daily, and those who win get to stay in the shelter for a night if they meet the criteria, which requires them to shower and arrive at 6:15. We interviewed a few men and women who were outside Front Steps waiting in line to either get a free meal or apply for the lottery.
A couple weeks.
Since I was 12.
Yeah, a couple of years.
2 years. I gotta stop you right here. You're gonna have to define that homeless to me for you. See, because I don't believe the word homeless shall apply.
Well, my dad was incarcerated 20 years, and my mother was an alcoholic. So this is where I was at.
First I broke 5 ribs. Was in the hospital for a long time. And during that time I lost my place of stay. My ribs are still healing. I've got a degenerative back disc. Did arthritis in my knees. So I'm not able to work.
I lost my job.
Lost your job?
Yeah, so I couldn't afford my rent. And Austin was way too expensive to live. Way overpriced. And that's how I met my husband, right here on the sidewalk. And we just had a baby a week ago.
Wow.
I had a drinking thing all my life. I work on the table, so I don't draw much of a check.
and put me right here. I did it to myself. Yeah, I can say that. Man, I wouldn't put this on nobody.
I think back on it, the way I put it, it was a calculated plan that everything fell in line with the situation at hand at that time.
A stereotypical assumption of homelessness is that almost all of the homeless people abuse drugs or alcohol, and that led to their unfortunate living situation. However, only 1 of the 5 homeless people we interviewed were homeless as a result of substance abuse. A study found that only 9% of people were homeless due to drug or alcohol addiction. Homelessness is the result of many things, the most prominent being the loss of a job. Other major factors include poverty, which is becoming more of a problem as the economy becomes more expensive, tragic life occurrence, untreated mental illness, and domestic violence. In fact, 90% of homeless women suffered physical and/or sexual abuse, and their need to escape from this abuse is leading to the cause of female homelessness.
Overall, between 2.3 and 5.3 million people experience homelessness. According to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, on any given night, over 600,000 people in the U.S. are homeless. Of these 600,000 people, 1/4 of them are under the age of 18. Right now, the number of homeless youths are at an all-time high. The number of homeless children in America increased from 1.6 million in 2006 to 2.5 million in 2013 due to economic crisis. Homelessness also affects a child's ability to learn, regulate emotions, and their social relationships. A study found that 40% of homeless school-age children have mental health problems requiring clinical help. The future of our country is not invisible, and neither are the homeless children.
36 children and 43 women slept side by side on blanket-covered mattresses laid out like a puzzle on the floor. They stayed at the downtown San Diego rescue mission because they had nowhere else to go. Older children have to get to school, but the babies and toddlers face a tough day with mom on the streets. In San Diego, 2,400 children stayed in emergency or transitional shelters last year. Half were under the age of 6. The rescue mission sheltered 683 of those children in its emergency facility, up from 487 2 years ago. Hauser says she does know one of the shelter's 5-year-old boys was recently hit by a car as he was leaving the shelter, and that children are at risk of many other dangers.
Another 1/4 of the 600,000 homeless people suffer from untreated mental illness. These people are chronically homeless, which means they are an unaccompanied individual with a disabling condition that is preventing them from work. Creative Housing Solutions conducted a study and found that in Florida, residents pay $31,065 per chronically homeless person a year. However, the cost to provide the chronically homeless with housing and supportive services would only cost $10,051. By giving recognition to the chronically homeless, in 10 years, $350 billion would be saved. 57,000 of the 600,000 people are veterans. In fact, 1/4 of America's total homeless population are veterans of war. These men and women bravely leave to fight for the U.S., in which many of them suffer from life-altering injuries.
Joe was the gunner in this Humvee when his vehicle took a sharp turn and flipped. His body was nearly crushed underneath. Joe suffered traumatic brain injury, broke his back, all his ribs, and shattered his left arm.
At that point, I gave up. I simply gave up. I know I can't work. I have no income coming in. I'm finished.
So it wasn't long before Joe, at age 50, ended up homeless.
Why should we treat homeless people with disrespect when 25% of them fought in wars to protect us and guarantee the rights that keep us free?
And I mean, I have had people to walk past me and say, "Get a job, bum." And I said, "Wait a minute, I'm not a bum, I'm a human being." And it's hard.
After that, they don't realize it. People need to realize it. You can have you can end up sleeping on the sidewalk before you know it.
Homeless people are not invisible. They're not all bums or addicts, but they all are humans. We need to stop treating the homeless society like they are invisible, because homelessness can happen to all of us. In fact, studies found that 40% of American citizens live paycheck to paycheck. One lost job or life-altering experience can leave anybody homeless, and suddenly the invisible homeless society becomes a reality. Make the decision to destroy the stereotypical filter placed on the image of homeless people today and make the future of homelessness visible to everyone.